Some movies are not good. These are among them. We were going to be highbrow and high road about this and not do a worst of list. Every year I toyed with the idea of like, should we be better than that? Should we rise above? And then I realized, no, we shouldn't.
It's the yang. It's the yang to the yin. You know, you've got to have the balance. I didn't do one for the wrap this year. I instead did a list of 10 biggest disappointments because there were so many movies this year from major filmmakers whom I generally respect that left me cold. So that enough felt like it. You know, I'm not mad. I'm disappointed. But then I went back and looked again at all the films I saw, and I was like, oh no, I have 10 worst too.
Okay, well, we both did these alphabetically. So let's go back and forth. Do you want to start with your first one?
Sure. Okay. And assuming that numbers go before letters, my first worst of 2022 is The 355.
Oh, I have that in the T's.
Okay, good deal. Well, yeah, so you would think that a spy movie that stars Jessica Chastain and Diane Kruger and Penelope Cruz and Lupita Nyong'o and Fan Bingbing globetrotting and wearing cool dresses and shooting people would be awesome. But then if you give it to Simon Kinberg to direct and co-write, it is not.
Yeah, it's never thrilling. And again, something like this, even the costume design should be a gimme, right? It should be so easy to put them all in like sexy spy clothes and make them look just badass. And even that is a mistake here.
Yeah, just a general letdown. And the first movie that I saw in 2022, which should have been my tip-off.
Well, though, Alonso, this year we have Megan.
She's upending all the paradigms. I know.
Exactly. My first worst is Amsterdam.
That was one of my disappointments.
Amsterdam. I'm just going to say it in a breathy, dreamy way. Amsterdam. Yeah, this was just a giant mess. Like, there's so much going on here. It's such an incredible cast between Christian Bale, Margot Robbie, John David Washington, Robert De Niro, Rami Malek, Anya Taylor-Joy, like this Michael Shannon,
Mike Myers,
Alessandro Nivola. Like, it's an interesting cast, and no one feels like a real person. It feels like so many different ideas with David O. Russell sometimes that, like, as I think you put it in our review, like that freewheeling, anything could happen, the wheels can come off at any moment thing is usually kind of exciting. And here it just feels incredibly sloppy and unfocused and never is as adorable or profound as it seems to think it is.
And even when it kind of finally butts up against the real life historical thing that it's supposed to be about, it just lands with a wet thud.
Yes. What is your next worst?
Mine is actually a little ahead of you alphabetically. The Adam Project. This Netflix movie with Ryan Reynolds, time traveling to be rescued by himself as a child. There is already this bubbling up genre of cruddy Netflix big budget action movies. Red Notice, I think, being the most notable one, but Chris Hemsworth's been in at least one of them by now. And I just feel like this is where people go to make super high concept, like star driven movies, but that nobody bothered to do the desperately needed script rewrite. So yeah, I just found it really kind of generic and flat.
Yeah, I am conflating this in my mind with a movie that I have on my list, which is Secret Headquarters, which also stars Walker Scobell, who's probably a fine young actor.
Yes.
It's not his fault. None of this is ever his fault.
He has a promising career ahead of him.
He really does. But that is a movie in which, like, Owen Wilson is his dad, but he's secretly like Iron Man, and he stumbles upon his dad's underground lair. The thing with both these movies is they feel really glossy and empty. Like, just the quality of the visual effects is so, like, distancing and artificial, and like the scripts aren't good, and it's just like noise and editing and pew pew pew.
If you filmed a pitch, you would get these movies.
Yes. So yeah, I agree. Those are both bad. Firestarter, the new Firestarter that came out this past year.
I forgot about that one. Yes, that's for sure one of the worst. Oh.
That's a bad one. It's just mostly a lot with that is it's not scary, but then secondly, it's one of these horror movies. It's so dark. So many movies are, and we're going to have one later on down the list that you and I share, where it's really hard to see what's going on a lot of the time. And I don't know, like, do we not pay the light bill? What is going on here?
Yeah, everything's either too dark or it's all blue. You know, it's ice blue. The only reason for the new Firestar to exist is casting an actual indigenous actor in the Native American role and not George C. Scott, and letting John Carpenter write the score, which he was supposed to do for the original back when he was going to direct it. Beyond that, it's got nothing.
Yeah, Ryan Keira Armstrong, who is the young actress who stars in it, is probably going to have a great career ahead of her someday.
Yes.
She's got like a young Haley Steinfeld thing going. She's in this really shitty Nicolas Cage Western that's out this week called The Old Way, but she's much better than the material. Like she's like Walker Scobell. She's going to be fine, but these are bad movies.
Not putting the blame on y'all, kids.
No.
This one's a tie for me. It's the two films that Liam Neeson starred in last year, Blacklight and Memory. And Blacklight was just sort of generically stupid and badly written, and then Memory is flat out offensive because he's a hitman, but he's also like trying to fight back dementia and trying to remember why he's even doing the things that he's doing. And like Liam Neeson is so talented, and I get that he's the guy you call to make these movies now, these post-taken, old dude action flicks. But man, both of these, and there have been some okay ones in recent years, but these were not among them.
This was not a good year for the Liam Neesoning. Nothing will ever be at the level of like the Mr. Plow movie, but these really, really fall short of that. My next one is called Luck. It's an animated movie that came out on Apple Plus. It was John Lasseter's first post-Pixar movie. He is a producer on this, and it's about a girl who has bad luck, and she meets up with a cat who has a lucky penny, but then she wants to get another lucky penny for her young friend who's still stuck in the orphanage. And the animation looks just rubbery and off-putting, and the antics are so silly, and like the girl, the main character is just a whole big ball of nothing. Like her personality is so sunny no matter what. Like she's 18 years old and she's aged out of the orphanage system and like has to go live on her own now. And how does she feel about that? Like there's no defined humanity to her. She's just sunny and plucky no matter what happens all the time. And then the whole thing that when they go to the land of luck, she tries to change her bad luck is just straight out of Monsters, Inc. It's like corridors with different places and labs where they make things. Jane Fonda is the voice of a big dragon.
Okay. Missed that one and will continue to do so. Next up for me is Disenchanted. In a not the only sequel on this list, but man, so completely misjudging of what made the first one work and how to continue this story. It is completely lacking in charm despite the best efforts of Amy Adams and Maya Rudolph and a lot of people who are too talented for this script. And director Adam Shankman. What were you thinking? This did not work at all. And it's the kind of sequel that makes you retroactively think less of the first movie.
I really loved her in the first movie, but turning her into a villain here, like fundamentally misunderstands what she's good at.
Yeah. And the songs weren't fun either.
My next one is Morbius.
Woo! Yes.
Which I know you have
mine.
too. I know you have that one too.
Yes,
this is what I was referring to earlier when I said you can't see anything. So it's never scary. It's unintentionally funny when it's supposed to be scary.
Yeah.
It just looks like crap. It is so dark. It's never thrilling. It's just bad.
Yeah. And I think this was one of those cases where you could have, you take this character out of the comics, but you could have played around with the film in a way to make it not feel like your standard, let's set up for the big battle at the end movie. But they don't really try to lean into making it a horror movie. They don't even try to lean into making it a very good superhero movie. It's just kind of a mess. It's all over the place. It's set in a New York City where Wall Street bars have parking lots. Like it's, yeah, just.
I will say Adria Arjona had a better year as the year went on because she's in Andor And she was in that remake of Father of the Bride with Andy Garcia, which was fun.
Exactly. Yes. So, sometimes bad scripts happen to good people. It's just the way it goes. My next one, also a sequel, is Jurassic World Dominion, which, I mean, talk about wasted opportunity. You bring back the OG trio of Laura Dern, Jeff Goldblum, and Sam Neill. You graft them onto the existing dullards, and none of it is interesting. None of it works. A lot of pointless running around and like giant locusts. That's the big plot driver here. I'm barely interested in what should be the central thing, which is, well, we got dinosaurs in the world now. Mm-hmm. How do we coexist? Just a complete shit show.
So much of that movie is like each of the threesomes like pointing to one another like, hey, I'm you. Wait, you're me? I'm you. It's like the Spider-Man meme, but there's 6
totally.
of them.
Yeah, basically.
Okay, my next one is one that I know you have too, and that is Pinocchio, and we need to be specific. This is the Robert Zemeckis Pinocchio.
Yes.
This is not the Guillermo del Toro one, which is excellent.
Yes, which is a runner-up for my top 10, but this was one of the worst 10.
It looks terrible. It's just tonally off, and you've got people like Cynthia Erivo, just like a waste of Cynthia Erivo. I don't know what accent Tom Hanks is doing here between this and Elvis. I don't know what is happening.
Yeah, that's true. Quite a year.
He needs to find a new dialect coach. It's just like it misses again what makes Pinocchio interesting. Like,
yeah, why it never answers the question, why are we doing this again?
Yeah,
it just doesn't. This one might kind of sort of fall in the so bad it's good category, but it's still bad, and that is Moonfall.
I didn't hate Moonfall. I wanted it to be nuttier, but I didn't hate it.
Look, I have given a pass to Roland Emmerich a lot. I will staunchly defend White House Down over the Has Fallen movies any day of the week and twice on Sunday. Mm-hmm. But Moonfall is so aggressively stupid, and and just by the time they get to the moon and find that it's actually an artificial satellite with some alien intelligence in it, I completely, it loses the thread. But yeah, along the way, there's some definite hilarity.
It's aggressively stupid, and yet I wanted it to be stupider.
Well, and I think had it been stupider, had it just owned that, then yes, it would have been a bigger hoot. But as it was sort of still trying too hard to convince you that there was some sort of scientific underpinning to all this. But then you've got character choices that make zero sense. Mm-hmm. A lot of things involving like outrunning the moon in the Colorado mountains or something. I don't even remember. It is.
Okay, so I've got the 355 next, which we covered already.
Okay.
And then after that, I have The Curse of Bridge Hollow, which I think you got to miss.
I did. Tell me more.
Oh, gosh. Well, it's essentially an Adam Sandler movie without Adam Sandler. It is a Halloween comedy for Netflix. I almost feel bad, like, pummeling this one because it's just bad, but it's like it's Priya Ferguson, who was Erica on Stranger Things, who is so great, and she moves with her parents, Marlon Wayans and Kelly Williams, to this quaint little small town in New England where like Halloween is everything, and she inadvertently unleashes these spirits that have been bottled up, and they take over the town and make all the Halloween decorations come to life, which is the plot of the second Goosebumps movie.
It's also the plot of Hocus Pocus, isn't it?
Is it? Anyway.
Kind of.
It's just a lot of Screechy running around, and like the effects are cheesy, and you have Rob Riggle and Lauren Lapkus just showing up and being and she's the mayor of this town, and she's the mayor because they're in New England. She's wearing a sweater. And Rob Riggle's wearing a Tom Brady jersey, just in case you couldn't tell what's happening. Anyway, it feels like it could be in the same cinematic universe as Hubie Halloween.
It sounds like it. Yeah.
They're very similar.
Okay. My next one is The Whale.
Okay.
What are we doing here?
All right. Okay, let's talk about this. Yeah.
I mean, we've reviewed The Whale. You can go back and hear us go more into the detail. But I mean, just so dumb and so thinks that it's being profound and is just this freak show, is just this everybody take a big long look at the fat guy and having no depth at all about what it's trying to say. And again, I'm not blaming any of this on Brendan Fraser,
no,
who is
good.
At least while swaddled in latex, trying to bring some heart and humanity to this character, but the movie does not ever manage to find any. You have these supporting characters whose behavior baffles, and it all left a bad taste in my mouth.
Yeah, I thought about this too. This is sort of the reasoning why I have a movie like Amsterdam on there. You know, it's a movie that should be great on paper, that has all the pieces, that takes some big swings. I found The Whale abhorrent, and yet there are enough moments and enough performances, like particularly from Hong Chow and from Sadie Sink, that I didn't put it on my worst list. Like there are enough elements that worked from time to time for me, but I totally hear you because I hated it too.
Fair.
Next one for me is The Invitation, which
I did not see.
We didn't review on here, I don't think. I had to review it for Ebert, so I had to go see a Thursday night showing of it.
I had COVID at the time, so.
Oh, well, lucky you.
Lucky
I'd rather
me.
have COVID than go see The Invitation, because it's a movie that had potential. It's Natalie Emmanuel, who was on Game of Thrones, I believe. She is a young woman who does DNA test to find out about her ancestry. She doesn't know a whole lot about her family, and apparently it's a whole bunch of white people at a castle in England. And wouldn't you know, they want her to come there and get to know them all better. It's sort of an interesting, creepy premise, but then when you find out what actually is going on here, it's like, oh, do you want me to tell you?
It's in the trailer. Like they're all of them vampires, right? Yeah, and they want her to be the bride of the blood. Yeah.
It's stupid. It could have been much more interesting, but yeah, they're vampires. And once you realize that's all it is, it's like, oh. And another movie where the effects look crappy.
And there's a really good movie called The Invitation from a few years ago, directed by Karen Kusama, which you should check out.
Yes, that's true.
And then my last one is Where the Crawdads Sang.
Oh, really dear, my show is hot out here.
Oh,
in the swamp.
My perfectly maintained cabin in the bayou, even though I live here alone. Oh my God.
It's like she stepped out of a dry bar. Like it shouldn't be like humid, but her ringlets are always soft.
Yeah, no, I mean, this is for this is the kind of thing that people make fun of Lifetime and Hallmark movies about. Like there is, her entire life is so free of dirt, and the everything is so incredibly contrived and unbelievable, and the storytelling is just clumsy. And I never read the book. I don't know what that's like, but man, this movie just feels like a lot of ideas thrown together, and none of it really works at all.
The book is supposed to be great. People love the book. I thought Daisy Edgar Jones did the best she could with this character who's just sort of an idea. But then
again,
the ending
I don't
is so
blame her.
No. The ending, everything happens so fast. Like it all wraps up so fast. It's like, whoa! It's like head spinning. Like, couldn't we have like drawn out that tension and developed that a little more?
Or started to have tension, even.
Even a tiny smidge. My last one is The School for Good and Evil.
Yes, which you warned me away from, so I did not see it.
You also missed it. Yeah. Tim Grierson came on here and reviewed it with me. And again, it's a whole book series. It's a whole big Netflix thing. It's this incredible cast with like Charlize Theron and Kerry Washington. And it's a whole lot of like trying to cram a bunch of these books into one movie. And at 2.5 hours, it still feels unsubstantial, rushed and unsubstantial, and it's just got so many other things going on that we've seen in other movies done better. Like it's a lot of Harry Potter. It looks a lot like Hogwarts. It's a lot of Romeo and Juliet, which we've seen 1,000 incarnations of, and this is not a particularly good one. So much of the visual effects are like people just going whew, whew, and like blobs of purple and red spew from their hands. But because it's a Paul Feig movie, the costume design is spectacular.
Well, all right then. I would hope so. It sounds like one of those. Remember the wave of post Harry Potter like would-be franchises in the 2000s that never got past like the first or second installment, like Cirque du Freak and stuff, like it sounded like one of those.
Yes. Anyway, what did you see this year? What was the worst movie you saw? What did you hate? Please commiserate with us. We'd love to have you. So it's pouring rain in LA today. Can't go for a run like I would ordinarily, but I can still get a workout in thanks to my awesome Carol bike. I'm loving it. It's so fun. And part of what is so fun about it is it has a very cheeky sense of humor. Kind of tells you how you're doing and inspires you in unexpected ways. So I'm enjoying all that about it. Oh, here it comes. Oh God, the spring wind is coming. It's super easy at first, and then it gets harder, but it's only 10 seconds and then it's done. Well done, I survived. The thing just told me that I survived. You're out of danger, it says, so thank God. I was worried. My kid can sit here and watch Glass Onion again for the 18th time.
Second.
I don't have time for that. I gotta go get a workout in. We have a code down below for you, breakfast all day. If you get a Carol bike through our link below, it is $250 off before January 31st. After that, it's $100 off. Still, totally worth it. I'm loving this. It is sturdy. It has a wide variety of different workouts available to you. Check them out, Carol Bike.